Satan's bad. Okay?
Well, I have some notes, but I don't know. So go over just briefly.
Just to follow up on what Phil said, he said Satan is bad. It's kind of weird even talking about this because, I've been in church for a long time. We never talk about Satan just because, it's negative, it's dark. And then you talk about the Church of Satan, you almost think like, oh no, are these people going to lift me up and kill me or what? It's like, because Satan is, in the news, aren't the Satanists the one who were taking cats in the neighborhood and sacrificing them? And
yeah, you can get power from doing those sorts of things.
Yeah.
So the question is, if you care at all about the situation we're in the world anymore, can you really, tally up what that person's life was actually worth to you in the medical sense? Each and every one of us could go on to achieve something great that maybe Satan wouldn't have been focused on as far as bringing in some sort of sacrifice or whatever.
Well, just to be clear, they said they don't sacrifice. They don't do any of that stuff. They're saying that,
that's the Church of Satan is a separate entity.
Yeah, the Church of Satan. And in fact, on their website, they say there's these wannabe rebels, and they want to, do all this weird stuff, and some of them even steal the content from the Church of Satan website and try to build their own following, and then they say, hey, can we be part of your group? Look, I got a following, and they're like, get out of here, You're just...
Yeah, there's a psychic, psychic vampirism? I've been subject to that.
Well, that's what I think they're making fun of Christians when they said psychic vampires. They were saying that's what Christians are because they believe that communion is the blood of Christ.
Sure. That too.
It's an intriguing word, isn't it? Psychic vampires. Because we underestimate how impressionable we are when faced with another person. Some people can be very overbearing. They can cause a lot of psychological trauma. They can be very suggestive. The power of words, I think we underestimate. We even let our minds get away, really go away on us. Like, you have a loved one at home, and you promised her or him that you'd be home at a certain time, that you stay out late and are doing something, and that person might be fine with that and just accepting that you're going to be late or that you don't always have it all together, but you might be in turmoil over, I feel so guilty. I wonder what that person is thinking right now. But nothing's going on, but our minds get away on us. So I can see how a lot of the concept of psychic vampire, it might be way off on left field on this. But it says on page 3 here, Satanists also practice lesser magic, which is basically the day-to-day manipulation of your fellows to obtain your ends. And I just wrote beside that, we underestimate how far manipulation of a person goes. There's so many different types of manipulation. And so there seems to be something that they're very hyperly focused on is manipulation, control.
If the question is put right, I think you might be asking, how often can you be disturbed before you go mad? And these little hits, these little things that Satanists might follow from the Church of Satan. But those who have less understanding, falling out of Christianity and whatnot, might pride themselves on is how well they can disturb others. And if they disturb them enough, they cause them to get angry, and that can be humorous, but also a drain on society to a level that might be suicidal for the race, for everyone.
Well, what I got from this was when it says Satanists also practice lesser magic, which is basically the day-to-day manipulation of your fellows to obtain your ends. What I imagine is, from reading their website and stuff, is they're just want to be normal people. Okay, so let's say you're an engineer at a company and you want to progress up to be a manager. So basically, let's say there's a project you're bidding for against another person. You can maybe use your energy to open doors, or like maybe your boss has to choose between me or you, and so I'm gonna try to influence it that way. Like, oh, okay, I don't know why, but for some reason I take Bernie, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Jonathan, you're being patient. You wanted to say something?
Oh, yeah. Let's see, I think well, on these first points from the Satanic Bible, where it says Satan represents man as just another animal, and then it goes on with some further comments. But I think that
what number is that?
number 7
Okay.
on the first list.
The 9 Satanic statements, number 7.
Yeah. Well, I think that people's concept of Satan essentially is kind of a personification, at least in my experience, of things that they either find inconvenient about just human nature, things that they like to shun or discourage. But it's a little bit more nuanced, perhaps, in that you could have, for example, well, some religions will discourage certain things, and part of this whole deal that we've gone through addresses that. Part of it might have to do with sexuality. Part of it might have to do with maybe some deeper explorations relative to meditation, or even other types of mind-altering activities. All that type of stuff, I think, scares people, and so they want to find a way to have the social control over that. And so having the concept of Satan is one way for them to do that. And so they may not really think about it that way, but that's just coming at it from a deal where I was a believer in a Satan myself, and then get away from that. That's my observation of the whole thing. So anyway,
A scientific outlook.
So you used to believe in Satan as a believer, and then then when you left that, then you just think people use that as a tool to. Well, it's just kind of a worldview.
I don't think they consciously think, oh, I'm using it as a tool. I just think that they are doing that, even though they wouldn't say, oh yes, I'm using it as a tool.
I used to have a thought like that.
I personally used it as a tool in the most loving, hard-loving sense when I was a Christian. And now I look back on it, and it's one of the more disappointing times in my life when I look back on it. I was a counselor for just a week. It's something that our church volunteered to do for an abused kids camp. And I was a counselor of 2 children, and I really wanted not only to love them, give them the love and attention that they can get at a camp like that, away from the abusive world that they probably live in. I also wanted them to be saved, to have the love of God, the friend of God in their life. And I remember it was towards the end of the camp, and I was desperate to get this kid to accept the Lord. And I said, look, so-and-so, there are angels and demons in the room right now fighting over the existence of your soul. The demons want you to go to hell, and the Christians, the angels want you to be with God. Don't you want to be with Jesus? Don't you want to be saved from the demons? You should accept Jesus right now. And I was kind of getting scared, and he accepted the Lord. And back then, I would have considered that the highest form of love, because I really felt like I knew better.
And you really believe, but you believe what you're saying too, right?
I believed in Satan as a real person. I truly believed in God as a real person, beyond a shadow of a doubt. So I was really concerned about it. So I used Satan. I used demons.